In the years since the death of Padme, Darth Vader came to live with himself a bit more peacefully. More than 20 years had passed since the death of his wife and his child. But this rage came back once he found out that not only he had a son, but that his master had lied to him all those years ago. I don't think we have ever seen Vader like this, honestly, other than him snapping and killing Sidious and saving his son in the process. But in that instance, Vader wasn't acting on anger only. If we look at it, it's a cavalcade of emotions that led him to grab his master and send him flying down a pit. This time, however, it's exclusively anger and hatred. This is immediately after Episode 4, where the Death Star was ultimately destroyed by a measly rebel pilot. Well, you can imagine that Vader was now obsessed with that pilot. He searched high and low for him, but instead of going through the Empire, he in fact hired one of our favorites, Boba Fett. Vader wanted to handle this personally first and then eventually handle Palpatine, meeting with Vader, who was awaiting to hear from the bounty hunter. Fett ended up telling Vader that he had partially failed. The pilot escaped his grasp, but he did get a name nonetheless. Vader turned his head, interested in what Boba had to say. His name was Skywalker. Vader stood there silent. Inside he was shocked, but still he stood silent. Boba quickly realized that they were done here and left a silent Vader contemplating. He remembered the great news.
Something wonderful has happened. Annie, I'm pregnant.
But then he also remembered the lies as he squeezed his hand.
Is she safe? Is she all right?
It seems in your anger, you killed her.
The windows started to crack from the anger. Now the room was shaking from Vader's anger. The glass was almost shattered completely. His anger almost destroyed the entire room. Skywalker, Vader said to himself. He knew what that name meant. He called the Emperor immediately, and once Palpatine saw him, he could feel and see his anger. He was waiting to see if Vader would retaliate, but Vader was now smarter than that. He simply told his master that now he understands their relationship. In his mind, Vader was done serving Palpatine. From now on, he would do anything in his power to prove to his master the power of Vader and overthrow him by any means necessary. It's that reason exactly why he tried to recruit his son. The lies of Palpatine had taken its toll on Vader. He remembered the love of his life and how her death changed how he saw the world forever. Can you guys honestly imagine loving someone literally to death and not being there for her funeral? Remember, Vader was not there while the entire planet of Naboo gave her a proper funeral. Then his mind went to his son, how he almost killed his son inside the trench of the Death Star. Vader still couldn't believe that he actually had a living son. Overlooking the fleet of the mighty Empire, Vader proclaimed that Skywalker will be mine. All of this will be mine. And thus the story of Vader and Luke starts. From this point on, they would be forever intertwined, and the Emperor himself underestimated the importance that Luke will have on his father's decision. Ultimately, what I think is that this shows how loyal Darth Vader was, even as Anakin Skywalker, and again when he changed sides as Darth Vader. He stayed loyal to Palpatine up until this point. All he wanted from his entire life was people not to manipulate and lie to him, and sadly, nobody could restrain themselves from doing that to him since they feared his power, his forceful nature. He felt betrayed by the Jedi that held secrets from him and kept him at bay. That's why he turned on them. Now again, Palpatine did the same thing, and that's what people fail to realize when they read this particular comic issue, is the fact that once again, Anakin/Vader was one and the same. He never belonged to the light or the dark. He belonged to himself. His life was in his own hands. He just simply was taught to follow and not to lead. This is the exact story that inspires Darth Vader to take aim at a bigger thing, a newer, fresher empire for himself so that he can rule it together with his son. But of course, as always, I would love to know what you guys think, so talk to me down below in the comments. Tell me what are your thoughts. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you until then.